Hello and welcome to another crypto review video, and in today's video I'll be talking about Darwinia Network, which is a project building on Substrate, which means it's interoperable with Polkadot. Not only that, but they're also playing a more important role in the Polkadot ecosystem, and that's bridging traditional blockchains with Polkadot. And not only that, but bridging those traditional blockchains with each other. So imagine having a huge interoperable ecosystem where all the different blockchains can communicate to each other. Not only that, but you can also transfer those non-fungible tokens from the different games that are out there on these different blockchains. So how awesome is that? We're seeing more and more interoperability taking place. But before we dig into CoinMarketCap to check the tokens associated to Darwinia and also the website and GitHub, if this is the first time you're here, my name is Claudio and this is CryptoChain, the channel where I do crypto news, reviews, tutorials and interviews. So please hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, or dislike if you don't, and leave me a comment below letting me know what do you think of Darwinia Network. But before we get in, please let's watch this short clip of today's channel sponsor. I'd like to thank them very much for sponsoring this video. They are Cobalt. Let's take a quick look and then we'll get straight into Darwinia. This video has been sponsored by Cobalt. Cobalt is a new way to borrow. The Cobalt lending platform aims to bring together borrowers into a fair democratic voting community in order to get all size loans, from microloans to six-figure loans, all without the oversight of a bank. Completely governed by the community, and therefore the community directly profits from its involvement. The current credit system is fundamentally flawed, and the Cobalt platform corrects this by facilitating a community voted and approved lending program on the blockchain that is completely based off the merits of the project. Now let's take a look at Cobalt to see what they're all about. Well, the ecosystem works by allowing borrowers to obtain loans from the treasury only if approved by the community vote. Both the buyer and the staker or the validator benefits from this model of decentralized lending because of less friction, lower fees and lower overhead, while reducing wait time for loans. The model is a completely trustless protocol with no central authority in charge, nor is there any one central body who can unfairly manipulate the terms of lending, as the community has complete control at all times and can fund or deny any project they deem worthy. Now, how do they plan to incentivize the community? Borrowers are incentivized by receiving free Cobalt CBLT tokens, which are, by the way, an ERC20 token on the Ethereum blockchain, for borrowing. Stakers will be compensated in two ways. First, by verifying the blocks or the transaction on the blockchain, therefore receiving transaction fees that will be split with the treasury, and a small portion will be burned. Second, stakers will receive dividends paid out in Cobalt periodically by the treasury based on the positive tracked performance of the projects funded by the community through the treasury. The treasury will also conduct periodic buybacks of the Cobalt token as well. This, along with the current burn occurring routinely on the protocol, will contribute greatly to the deflationary model and therefore increasing the overall value for investors, wallet holders. So what are the different features they've got? The borrower, which is the wallet holder, the staker, the decentralized finance, social media, e-commerce, help and support. They will be conducting a token sale from the 31st of October if you are interested. There are some countries that are excluded, so do check the list here. Do fill in the details if you are interested. And you can also earn some Cobalt by taking part in their airdrop, which they've got based on social media challenges here. As we can see, they've got the Facebook challenge, the Twitter challenge, Instagram, and so on, if you are interested. Okay, so to get back and talk about Darwinia Network here, we're going to talk about the two tokens that are associated to the project. So first we've got Ring, which is like the parent token, the main token as part of the Darwinia Network ecosystem. Okay, it's currently trading at 4.3 cents. As we can see, it's up 14% in the last 24 hours. Now the total supply is 1.5 billion at the moment, almost 1.6 billion, with 309.7 circulating supply, but the max supply is 10 billion. So there's going to be more and more Ring being generated over the years, and we'll talk about that too when we look at the project. Now they are listed on various exchanges here, and again, this isn't financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Please do your own research. This is for educational purposes only, but they're on Huobi, Uniswap, Hotbit, Huobi Global again, Gate.io, Poloniex, and a few other exchanges, so do check them out if you are interested. And then the second token that's associated with Ring, or with Darwinia and with Ring, is KTON. So it's called Darwinia Commitment Token. It's trading at $82.86 at the moment, up 2.7%, and only 39,583 are in total supply. Now we don't know the circulating supply yet. It hasn't been updated, so we're not entirely sure what that is, but it is on various exchanges too, not on Huobi, unfortunately for some, right? It is on Uniswap, Poloniex, MXC and so on. Now, I don't really recommend Hotbit, but if you have been using them, that's fine. It's just that they lack a lot of liquidity and they've got a lot of fake volume there. So that's just something to keep in mind. Please try and stay away from Hotbit as much as possible unless you absolutely have to. But let's talk about the website here so you can familiarize yourself with Darwinia. So it is the Internet of Tokens. Basically, it's an open cross-chain bridge protocol based on Substrate, and Darwinia focuses on the construction of future Internet of Tokens, including decentralized token swap, exchange, and market. So like I was saying, they're basically trying to be interoperable with the traditional blockchains, right? They're trying to make everything come together. And as we can see here, we've got the public chains, Ethereum, Tron, and more. We've got the Darwinia Bridge chain, and then there are the other chains or dApps. So for example, Evolution Land, Consortium Chain, and so on. They're all interconnecting with Ethereum, Tron, and the other ones. And there are two different options here. So we've got the solo option, which is this that you see here, and we've got the Parachain option, which is to interconnect everything you see here with Polkadot. Okay, so that is pretty cool. Now, of course, with Parachain auctions, we cannot guarantee that Darwinia are going to get that slot. It all depends on the community, if they're going to vote enough for them to be able to bond. But not only that, Darwinia also need to own a lot of DOT to be able to bond, or to even start, to even take place in the Parachain auction. They need to have a lot of DOT to be able to bond that. So they need help from the community, and they need to own a lot of DOT. So it's not so straightforward to get that Parachain slot as people think, but hence why Darwinia are going to basically award people for staking, or locking, we should say, for locking their DOT for a certain period of time, and that is for a maximum of 2 years. But you don't have to vote for the full 2 years. You can only vote for 6 months if you want to, for one specific slot. Some people will vote for 2 years and they're fine with that. But I just want to reiterate, and I've said this in other videos too, the advantage of voting for a parachain is that you are actually locking your DOT, right? You're not losing them completely. Whereas when you're taking part in a token sale on Ethereum, you are losing that Ethereum. You're paying Ethereum to get their ERC20 token assigned to you, and that's it, right? Regardless of what the price does, you've lost that Ethereum. Whereas with this, even though you get rewarded with that token, you also get to keep that DOT. It's still assigned to your wallet. You're still basically signing it, locking it in a smart contract somewhere for the period of time that you've decided to lock for. And you will get them back, right, at the end of that period. So even if the token doesn't do well, even if Ring crashes in price, for example, and it's going to be worth close to zero, when 2 years pass, you will be getting that DOT back. So it's as if nothing ever happened. Of course, you can assume that DOT could also drop in price, but as the Polkadot ecosystem is rapidly growing, who knows what the future has in store for us, right? Anything could happen in crypto, right? It's very agile. So let's take a look at the Darwinia economic model here. So this is basically just to reiterate that you can interconnect Ethereum, Tron, and then all these different dApps with the Darwinia Bridge chain. But let's take a look at the Ring token. So we have seen the price at the beginning, but we don't know what it's about. So the native tokens for Darwinia Network is Ring. Ring can be used as gas for transactions, so that's very important. It has a very critical use case. Gas includes transaction fees, contract execution fees, network bandwidth charges, storage fees, and more. Also, we've got KTON, which we took a look at as well, which is the more expensive one, at trading at over 80 bucks at the moment. So that's to encourage users to make long-term commitments and pledge. Users can choose to lock Ring for 3 to 36 months in the process of staking, and the system will offer a KTON token as a reward for users participating in staking. So staking is basically a process, like, it's basically the same. You could think of it as contributing in order to be rewarded, right? You need to give your hash power, not really hash power, but more like security, by staking, and that means that it's going to secure their blockchain. So the Darwinia network will distribute Ring as an incentive to the participants of staking. The process of staking can also be understood as the POS mining process, proof of stake mining process, where the miner obtains staking energy by pledging tokens for POS mining, right? This is how you could think of it. It's not proof of work, again, like Bitcoin or Ethereum, but it's proof of stake, like Ontology or Neo, for example, which we're well aware of. So this is pretty much it. Like, I mean, it's trying to inspire you and to motivate you to stake in order to be rewarded, like we've seen with many other projects, right? So many of them are focusing on proof of stake because it's better from the energy consumption point of view, right? And we're talking about cold staking here. Cold staking means that you're staking to a validator and then you no longer care about it, right? You're just generating rewards. You're not using up any energy. It's the validator that has to use up that energy because they need to make sure that the process is kept up. The nodes are running 24/7 in order to validate those transactions on the blockchain. So again, they are an ERC20 token. They're on the Ethereum blockchain. You can see here it says you can view on Etherscan, but they're also on the Tron blockchain, so you can use the Tron scan too. So they are also a TRC20, not just an ERC20. Now they've got the token DEX too, which is a decentralized application based on the Darwinia cross-chain bridge as the core technology, which can realize automatic cross-chain transactions between tokens. So that's the future. That's what we want to see. And here's where DeFi plays an important role with the liquidity pools, right? Because when you're doing these cross-chain transactions, you need to make sure there's enough liquidity so that you're not paying too much more than the average price is on the market at the moment for that specific coin or token, right? Because otherwise, why would you use the cross-chain functionality when you can just go to a centralized exchange and just purchase that specific coin, right? That's the whole purpose, is to have those people that are contributing to the liquidity pool and then to make that coin liquid. And then of course you can then do that swap without ensuring that there is enough liquidity so that you don't pay that slippage fee, which could be pretty painful, right? Depending on the lack of liquidity. There's the NFT market too, so the decentralized NFT auction market, which supports NFT auctions of different blockchain networks through cross-chain auctions, creates a new NFT cross-chain circulation scenario. So again, all the different tokens that are part of these blockchain games can be swapped between different blockchains pretty much, right? So from Ethereum to Tron to EOS to Neo to Ontology and so on. This is their whole game plan here. And here we can take a look at their roadmap. So they've come a long way. They've released quite a lot here. They've got the Darwinia Crab network at the moment. They were supposed to start the Darwinia mainnet, which hasn't launched yet. It's still in progress here, as we can see. But of course, the ecological applications is the next step here, Q3 and Q4 of 2020 and more. But also the Parachain, as you know, when Parachain auctions start on Polkadot. So yeah, we can see who the partners are here. They've got Polkadot as partners, Parity, Maker DAO as well, Polkabase. A lot of these I've never heard about. Polka Wallet too, of course, and so on. So here we can see they've got a telemetry here. So this is something interesting that you should probably check. Let's open this to kind of show you what I'm talking about. So here the Polkadot telemetry basically gives us a list of all the different projects that are building on Polkadot at the moment and that we know are associated to Polkadot, because otherwise they wouldn't actually show up here. So actually if we look here in this list, we can see Darwinia. Okay, so here's Darwinia CC1. So the fact that they're on here in the telemetry tells us that this is a legit project building on Polkadot. Now let's talk a little bit about the FAQs here. So what is the relationship between Darwinia Network and Polkadot? Because you may have these questions, right? Darwinia Network is the first game chain on Polkadot. The development of Darwinia Network is based on Polkadot and Substrate framework. Later, Darwinia Network will become a parachain of the Polkadot network. So that's their plan. What happens if Darwinia Network is no longer a parachain? So even if Darwinia Network is voted off the Polkadot parachain set, it will still work as a solo chain where it's responsible for its own security, as I showed you there in that diagram that they've got on their main website. Now, what is Ring and KTON? So Ring is the system token of Darwinia Network. The initial supply before Darwinia Network mainnet release is 2 billion. KTON is the staking and governance credential of Darwinia Network. KTON can only be obtained by locking Ring. The initial supply is 0. At present, some Ring and KTON exist in the Ethereum network and the Tron network in the form of ERC20 and TRC20. These tokens will be transferred to the Darwinia main network by a 1-to-1 ratio cross-chain conversion after the Darwinia mainnet is online. So what is Ring and KTON in Evolution Land? Ring and KTON in Evolution Land is the TRC20 token. The Evolution Land will use Ring in Darwinia Network as the payment token in-game. Okay, so that is pretty important, because if this game does well, and again, this is a big if, because a lot of these blockchain games tend to do well at the beginning, but then after a few months, things die out if they're not keeping momentum going with updates and making the game more playable. Players tend to get bored and they switch to something else. So if this game does do well, then this is going to be great, a great use case for Ring here. And we could potentially see the price do well as a result. And finally, let's talk about their GitHub page here. We'll take a quick look here. We can see there are only 2 people working, but there could be more, because I know I've had this with other projects in the past where I've reviewed them on GitHub and only 2 showed up here. And if you're logged into GitHub, you actually see more people normally. I'm not logged into GitHub, so I can only see 2 people here, but there could be more working on Darwinia here. So we can see they are active. They've updated their blockchain here, the code here, we can see that's been updated 2 hours ago. All the different programming languages they're using, more updates here 3 hours ago, 8 hours ago. up to yesterday and even more. So then they've had a short break here. We can see 11 days since in between the updates, but of course there could have been updates before that here. This basically shows you the most recent updates. So they're constantly working here. Even the Telegram bot, right? They've got a Darwinia Telegram bot which they're managing in GitHub here, updated 16 days ago. So yeah, I mean, this is pretty interesting, right? We've got more bridging happening on Polkadot. And again, Darwinia aren't the only bridge for Polkadot. I will be talking about other bridge projects for Polkadot, such as ChainX, for example. But in today's video, I just wanted to kind of focus on Darwinia and show you how they can bring NFTs together, because this is their main purpose, and gaming in general. Thank you very much for watching. As always, don't forget to leave a comment below, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care. Bye-bye.